You're listening to the ESO Network, your station for all things geek.
Hello, and welcome to episode 259 of the Soul Forge podcast.
Welcome to the Soul Forge, a place of silent mystery, quiet contemplation, and outright mayhem. Join your host, Sean Vanderloo, as he guides you through the adventures of living. Together, we'll talk about life and love, sex and dating, joy and heartache, memories and loss, and so much more. Don't worry, it's not nearly as pretentious as it sounds. Get ready for life, the universe, and everything on the Soul Forge.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another exciting episode of the show. It's your host Sean, as per usual, and with me today I have an extra special exciting guest. Her name is Krista, and this is her podcasting debut. Say hello.
Hi.
How are you feeling?
Nervous.
You know they can't see it, right?
Yes.
Okay. And we're recording, but they're not hearing it right now. That's later.
I'm sure my face is very red.
It is. It is a nice shade of red. Yes, it's pretty good. Yep. Okay, so this is going to be a fun episode. What are we talking about today? It's your idea.
Politeness for no reason.
And how did this come about?
Honestly, it was just one of those ideas that popped in my head one night while I was sitting there doing nothing.
And you did a TikTok about it.
I did a TikTok about it, and I got really bad comments off of it. I got called selfish.
So let's dive right into this TikTok.
Okay.
What exactly was it that you said? Or paraphrase.
So the gist of it was I did a video about a fictitious conversation I could have with somebody and how it would be just being polite listening to them about this topic because I have absolutely no interest in this topic, and that in that conversation there's a certain length of time that I can do that for before they're going to realize I'm just being polite, and the second they do that, my politeness now is going to look rude to them. And that's just going to make the situation so much worse. So now they're going to be offended, even though I've just been trying to be polite and courteous. And why do we bother doing that instead of just not wasting the time? Why do we not find something actual to talk about?
So you have no use for small talk and useless conversations.
I have no use for small talk and useless conversations.
Now, this hypothetical conversation that you talked about in your TikTok, would this be something that you would have with a longtime friend, or this is like a new person that you've just met like for this first time or just a few times?
This is a new person.
Because if you've known each other a long time, you're not going to have these stupid conversations.
No, you already know each other's stuff.
Right, exactly.
But like this is a new person, so now that I've had this conversation with a new person and I've been polite, now how do you get past that to actually find out the real things about each other? So you can get past that polite stage and actually know each other and talk about real things without them realizing that that was just being polite and now you're being rude. Right,
okay, exactly. And what were some of the nasty comments that you got?
I got one person telling me that I was just being selfish. I was like, no, I'm not saying I don't want to do this. I'm saying people all over shouldn't be doing this. We're wasting a whole bunch of time that has no gain for any of us.
Selfish because you don't want to listen to something that you're not interested in?
I mean, maybe, but who wants to listen to stuff they're not interested in?
It happens all the time.
All the time. Another comment was, if I'm not interested in their stuff, then don't expect anybody to be interested in my stuff.
And you said that you don't expect...
I don't expect people to be interested in my stuff.
And why is that?
Because it's my stuff.
And you're interested in it.
Yeah.
And that's good enough.
Okay. And if I find like-minded people, we talk about that stuff.
Right.
And if I don't have like-minded people, we don't talk about that stuff. We find other things to talk about.
But if you do have like-minded people, then you don't have to do the useless conversations, the initial getting to know you kind of stuff.
No, because we have that common thing, so we have something to go with.
And you can just cut to it.
Yeah.
Without saying, oh, it was really foggy today, eh?
Yeah. Or, I'm not particularly fond of the shade of purple. It's a little on the pinky side for me. Like, who cares?
Exactly. But it happens lots.
All the time.
Especially when you're nervous and you're just meeting somebody for the first time.
Yeah.
I guess is it maybe necessary to do the useless stuff before you can get to the good stuff? Or can you just get to the good stuff right away?
I mean, it might be short-term necessary, but I think we take it way too far.
It happens.
I honestly don't think that we need to do it more than a time or two, and I really don't think that needs to last longer than a couple of phrases.
Okay, so let's go back to this hypothetical conversation. Let's say, for example, I'll use my brother because you've met him a few times. So my brother Curtis is huge into hiking, and you're not.
No.
And you and Curtis have never had this actual conversation.
No.
But say you did. You're over at my house because I live with my brother, as all you people out in podcast land know. So Krista comes over, and would you ask him, "Hey, how was your latest hiking trip?" Is that how it would start? You wouldn't, because you don't want to have the.
I would not start that conversation. No, and if I did, then it's totally on me.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah,
but he might just bring it up.
He might bring it up, and then you've got to be polite, especially because now I'm in his house.
Right, exactly. So then this conversation goes on. And he's telling you about the new cleats that he bought for the trails, and I got this new high tensile carbon walking stick, and you should see the deal I got on it. And normally it's $99.99, but I had a coupon and they had a sale, so I got it for $40. It was awesome. I can hook you up on a deal on this thing because Sean told me that Krista, you like to go for a walk every once in a while, and then you have to carry on this useless conversation.
I would.
You would carry it on?
Oh, God. I would, too. I would, because you have to, right? How do you get out of that?
That's the question.
How do you do? You can't, get out of it without being rude, but as soon as they realize you've just been doing it for politeness, they will look at it as rude.
Because you carried on this conversation.
Yeah.
And you actually didn't have any interest in
it. And you can't just sit there the whole time going like, You actually have to listen long enough to be able to say something and engage in this conversation that you know nothing about.
Now, would you find it rude to just shut it down and say, Curtis, actually, I went for a walk one time for 20 minutes, and I don't need a hiking stick, and I don't like walking. But I appreciate the fact that you do, but I don't need to know about this.
Yeah, but thanks for offering to help me out, but...
Or would that be rude?
I wouldn't look at it as rude, but I'm a much more plain person that way than a lot of people are.
Blunt.
Yes, blunt.
That would be a good way to describe you.
I'm blunt, yeah. I'm more plain speaking. Social niceties don't bother me to not have them. I don't take offense to them. Yeah, they can be done at rude, and sometimes it kind of seems like things are rude, but if you look at the person, you're like, well, they're not meaning to be rude. They're just going on about their day.
It's a fine balance sometimes, too.
It can be a fine balance. It's hard, but I don't usually take offense to those things. But I never know who else is going to react that way.
Most people do. Because we're programmed to be nice by society and to have certain conventions, like when you are on the phone with somebody and you hang up, you always say goodbye.
Yes.
Not everybody does. They don't do it in movies. That's to save time, I think, but
probably
there are people out there who don't say goodbye.
Mm-hmm. It happens.
Okay, thanks for calling, and then that's it.
Yeah.
Whatever it is. But 99 times out of 100...
Yeah, we are. We're totally programmed to be that way.
We're programmed by society to be a certain way. To maybe it's to make society function.
I don't think we actually need it to function. And I'm not saying let's get rid of all courtesy. Common courtesy is still a very big thing. Like, you walk by Joe Blow and they say hi. You say hi. You don't just walk by. That's rude.
Well, that's right. That's right. That's another difference I find between Timmins and the Sioux. There's the walking trails here at Whitefish Island. Mm-hmm. You pass somebody, you say hi. In Timmins, that wouldn't be a thing. People don't really say hi to each other too much over there.
Oh, that would be so weird.
So, yeah.
Just walk around all the time going, please don't look at me.
There's a lot of that actually up there.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah. And like when I was delivering the mail, hardly anybody would say hi in Timmins. But here, everybody says hi. And lots of people, a lot of the old men I find offer water, especially if it's a hot day.
Yeah.
So that's nice actually.
So people here are nicer, but those are very quick and over with like that.
Yes, it's over with like that.
It doesn't take time out of your day. It doesn't, create this useless pattern in a friendship or quasi-acquaintanceship.
And you know what else doesn't take a lot of time out of your day? Listening to this promo for another podcast right here on the ESO Network.
Coming this summer to a podcast near you. Be prepared for the return of...
The Jedi.
No, the return of...
The King.
No, the return of...
Swamp Thing?
You are such an idiot. The return of...
Oh. The Monster Sci-Fi Show.
Yes, it's coming back and it's about time.
The Monster Sci-Fi Show is part of the Rebel Alliance, part of your complete breakfast, and part of the ESO network. It's sci-fi from a certain point of view.
And we're back. Now, was I right? Was that a quick promo or what?
Absolutely.
And aren't you going to go check out that podcast?
Totally.
Right? It's one of the best here on the ESO network.
I can't wait.
You did that really well.
Thank you.
And I didn't even coach you on how to... You must have been listening to podcasts before.
Some of them.
Yes.
Also, that ingrained politeness to just follow along kind of goes.
Oh, see? Because I can see it in your eyes, too. You're like, I'm just going to go with this.
Yeah, I'm just going to say what I'm supposed to say. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. That was pretty fantastic, actually.
Yeah. But I like you, so I'll do that for you.
Oh, I appreciate it.
And it was briefly over with.
It was, just like we mentioned.
Yep.
There you go.
Gone.
There you go. Yeah, exactly. So, back to small talk. How are you doing?
Oh, fine, thanks.
See, and have you ever tried it another way, where they don't actually want to hear it, but you then go on and tell them, like, oh, actually, you know what? I've got a spur in my what is it?
Heel?
Yeah, I've got a heel spur. I couldn't think of the word for some reason. My arm's kind of sore because I was painting, and I just had COVID, and I'm still feeling a little bit under the weather. Like, nobody wants to hear that.
No, nobody cares.
No.
Once in a while I'll do it to somebody, usually somebody I know, either they're a friend or much more than an acquaintance at least. And I'll just rhyme all that kind of stuff out that's been going on. But I'll also rhyme it out really, really quickly. Right. So it's over with fast. Mm-hmm. And so they're just kind of sitting there stunned looking at me going, I don't know what to say. And I just find it funny to shock people. So that's the thing.
Yeah.
I don't actually expect them to care.
No, that's right.
No, I just like that moment where they're just sitting there going, like a deer in headlights.
Right.
And, and then I'm like, no, it's okay. I just,
because,
being a jerk.
and because whenever anybody asks, hey, how's it going? They don't actually expect you to answer. Like, when I'm delivering the mail, I'll always get, hey, how you doing? How's it going? And I'll say, oh, good, how are you? And then just say, good. But,
yeah, it's just an automatic response.
Yeah.
And that's okay. Like, those things take minimal amounts of your time.
Right.
It's fine.
They don't actually care how I'm doing.
No, nobody cares. Nobody gives a shit.
And do I care how they're doing? Not even a little bit.
No.
I'm going to see them for 12 seconds as I hand them their mail.
What did you tell that guy about the rain in the mail the other day?
Oh, that's right. Yes, that was funny. Okay, so I was delivering the mail, and it was a little bit of a sprinkly day. Normally, people will say, oh, you don't have a raincoat, and I'll say, oh, no, I'll be okay. And this time, I was like, you know what? I'm going to be funny. And I said, he said, you don't have your raincoat? I'm like, nope, it's okay, I'll be fine. He's like, oh, that's good. And I said, yeah, besides, it's not my mail I'm delivering, and you've got yours now, so I don't care. And he just looked at me like, oh, that was a very honest answer.
That was right. You shocked him.
I did.
You've been hanging out with me too long.
That could be what it is. Yeah, because every once in a while you get that, or I'm walking by, and clearly I'm not going to the person's house, and they'll say, "Oh, no mail for me today." I'm like, "Nope, maybe tomorrow." And what I want to say is, "No, that's why I'm walking by your house, dumbass."
Also, like, how many times have you heard that?
So many times.
Seriously, people they never realize that they're jokes. We hear them all the time.
Exactly. And sometimes I'll want to say, oh yeah, you do, but it's a check and you're out, so I don't want to give it to you till tomorrow.
Oh, it's a bill. We'll just, we'll keep throwing that out.
If it's a bill, you can keep it. Oh, that's funny. I've never heard that one before.
Right?
Yeah. But you have to laugh and go on. And
oh my God, in customer service, so many people, it scans and it doesn't scan. I guess it's free.
I guess it's free.
Oh my God.
It's
so many times.
It's like nobody is original, and we're all programmed with the same responses.
Yeah.
Because we all do it.
And it's like, you know what? That might have just happened for you, and it only happens once in a blue moon for you, but as the person scanning the item, so many times.
I've been standing on my feet for 12 hours. It's not funny.
It's not funny.
I just want to go home.
It was never funny.
No.
And at this point, I don't even have the wherewithal to look even happy about it, or even like nice about it at this point. Now you're just glaring going, shut up.
So, polite for politeness' sake is sometimes exhausting.
It's so exhausting.
Especially if it's repetitive.
We waste so much time and effort on it, and it's exhausting. As somebody who has like issues being around a lot of people frequently, that is an exhausting, useless waste of my energy.
So, what's the solution?
I don't know.
there's...
I mean, I'm blunt, so that's part of my solution. I'm just a blunt person.
And what kind of responses do you get?
That depends on the people.
Okay, so somebody who is not blunt, how would they respond?
It takes them a while to get used to it. You know, at first they tend to respond with being offended or just not knowing what to say or do back. After they get used to me and they realize I'm not being rude, I'm not saying it meanly, it's just blunt and I couldn't carry it one way or the other.
It's your personality.
It just doesn't freaking matter to me.
This is me, deal with it or don't.
Pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah, so if somebody takes the time to get used to me, they get used to that stuff and it doesn't become a problem after that. But initially, if a person's not a blunt type, yeah.
And most people aren't.
No, most people aren't. I have few friends. It's a thing.
Well,
but I love my friends.
That's like the meme you shared the other day. I tell it like it is, so I have 3 friends.
Yes, I have more than 3. Not many more, but I have more than 3. But yeah, they're pretty much all blunt people that I can talk to about everything.
People are sensitive and they can't always deal with it.
Oh, they're so sensitive. Oh, people are so sensitive.
Because would you say that they're the sheep of society? Or is that too harsh?
That's a little too harsh in this case.
Okay.
But
it's just we're programmed by social convention, and
I think it's a whole lot of programming and people aren't thinking.
It's true, we're all automatic.
Yeah, they're not thinking. And I realize it's a small thing, and until somebody comes up in your face and says, hey, you should think about this, look at it this way, it's probably never going to occur to you. But there's so many things in our lives that are like that. We need to think.
That's the thing. That's the major thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, just do a little bit more effort.
Yeah.
Do a little bit more thought.
Stay off of autopilot, think of it. Like, when you have a conversation, think back on it.
So
and how did that go?
Instead of just waiting for your turn to reply, actually think about what the other person is saying.
Yeah. You know, and am I interested in this? Do I want this to go further? And even if you do have one of those polite conversations and you get stuck in them, because God, when I get stuck in them, I have no idea how to get out of them without being rude.
Right.
And, I've been stuck in them for like an hour.
That's
awful.
That's way too long.
It's so awful when that happens.
I guess so.
And as somebody who has social issues like me, that's... I just run at that point. If I'm stuck in them for a long time, I need to run away afterwards.
And decompress and be by yourself for a while.
Yeah, I'm going home. That's it. I'm running as fast as I can.
A little bit draining.
Yeah,
for sure.
It's totally exhausting. But yeah, thought needs to go in it. Or at the very least, thought after the fact. You have to think about that conversation. Like, do people do that? I do that, but I'm weird.
Well, I know with me, if I'm not interested in the conversation, I'll actually tune out and start thinking my own thoughts and forget that I'm even talking to somebody.
Yeah.
Or listening to them talk.
And then when you zone back in, you're like, oh, shit. There's that moment of, crap, did they notice?
Yeah, right. There's a lot of, yeah, oh, yeah. And then what happened? You know.
And heaven help you if they ask you a question. And you're screwed. You're screwed.
Yeah. I've probably forgotten their name, too, actually.
Right. Well, I forget people's names
I
all
never
the
pay
time.
attention when I get introduced.
All the time. How many times did I ask you what your son's name was?
A lot.
Yeah, I forget people's names all the time.
Uh-huh.
You have it tattooed on you.
Yeah.
And I know that character.
Yeah.
And I still forgot that was your son's name.
Yeah. I know.
Yeah. I'm awful with names.
It's a thing.
Yeah.
Most people are. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm awful. But, like, the next day or so, just randomly that conversation will pop back into my head. This continuously happens to me. And I'll rethink it. And I'll think about things I could have said, or like we do that when we're upset, right? I wish I would have said this. But I do it for all conversations, and I try to figure out better ways to have had that conversation so that I have an option in the future.
That's smart. That's a good idea.
But I don't know if that's just me and my weirdness.
Maybe, but I've replayed back a lot of conversations too.
Yeah.
So,
like, does everybody do that? Because you're kind of you and your weirdness too. We're not normal.
Oh no! I do a whole podcast about it.
Right?
It's the Soulforge podcast that you're on for the first time.
I am.
And you did very well.
Thank you.
Yes. Is there anything else you'd like to say?
Bye.
There you go. Okay, listeners. If you enjoyed that, leave us a 5-star review in the podcatcher of your choice. Krista, you're on TikTok. Would you like people to follow you there?
No.
Okay. Fair enough. I'm on TikTok at Soulforge Podcast. Follow me there, gang. But until next time, take care of yourselves and each other. And remember, a fish with his mouth closed never gets caught. Thank you for listening to another episode of the Soulforge Podcast. Your support is greatly appreciated, and we hope you'll tune in again next time. Remember that you can visit soulforgepodcast.com for all of our social media links. And don't forget to share the show with everyone you know. The Soul Forge Podcast is your best source for living your best life.
Think about it.
This has been a broadcast of the ESO Network. Be part of the crew and help support our shows by donating to our ESO Patreon or by shopping at the TeePublic store, which can all be found at www.esonetwork.com. The ESO Network, your station for all things geek.